Hello there. This is a bit of an unusual video because what I'm doing today is I will be recapping something that I've done in the previous video. So, well, not recapping, but I'm going to give you an update on how it went. So, I don't know if you remember, but a while back I was modelling I was making a model of a skull just from my own head, basically, not anything particularly realistic. The strange expression on his face is because when we went to make a cast of it, it got a bit squished. I assume it was a bit warm when we put it in there. But yeah, so we had trouble basically keeping it submerged in the silicone. So that it's also always got a big hole in the bottom because it basically shoved a stick in it to try and keep it under the silicone. Because the centre of this is actually polystyrene, so it's very, very light. And it just wanted to float up off it, so it didn't quite work out as we wished, but we did get a cast off it. So I got this cast. Can't see very well. Let me see if I can get my light in there so you can see a little bit more. You see we've got quite a few bubbles in it, particularly in the eye sockets there. It's kind of gross and weird looking at it like this. We got a decent cast off it, which we did in just a normal sort of Tupperware. It took a little while to get it out, but it's quite a nice, fairly sturdy mould. We could probably get a few more casts out of it, but as I say, with the bubbles, it's a bit of a nuisance. So the first cast I took was I can't remember which one of these was first, actually. I think it was this one. So this one, we specifically mixed up a batch of resin for this one, so it's just plain, clear resin, as you can see if you look in the bottom. One of the things I didn't factor in was the fact that it actually kept the texture of the wax, because when you mould with silicone it gets into every little nook and cranny except when it doesn't, and so you get whatever texture the thing is that you took the mould from. In this case it was a slightly satiny texture, which is really nice. I think it's a really nice texture and I'll definitely be using this X wax again. The disadvantage was, as you can see, I had some trouble, so I had too many overhangs. Also had two massive bubbles in the eye sockets, which I should have figured out was going to happen because just because of the shape it is. And I recently saw on an Evan and Caitlin video that the idea is you dunk it in, then pull it out so it's got a complete coating of thing, then you put it back in again. Evidently that's the way to fix it. Kind of gross, but there you go. This one is kind of nice because it's got these weird, almost water droplet-like bits on it. And you've got a completely smooth bottom. The problem is it also, I think this is the polystyrene resin we got, so it's basically clear polystyrene resin. And it's quite a quick drying one, and it's quite gloopy, so it had a lot of bubbles. It could have done with being, this one could have done with being in a pressure pot, and we do have a pressure pot, it's just we have to, the pressure pot is a bit of a faff to sort out, and it needs to be nursed to a certain extent because it's not 100%. We still haven't quite got all the air leaks out of it, so it does go down over time. The pressure drops over time, but I think even with that it would have been quite useful because I think you would have had fewer of these bubbles. But if you actually look at the mould, which you can't really see, but when you look at it close up, it actually has like little bubbles. It has little bubbles in the mould itself, so I don't know if it would pick up those as well. But then that's not such a problem because you can sand those off if it bulges out. I mean, theoretically I could actually get like the Dremel or some rotary tool in there or drill or something and actually get those out if I was careful, so make that the same sort of texture as this. But yeah, as I say, it's very bubbly, this one. We took another cast, see if we could get a slightly better cast. Still got this gap here, but this was basically made from leftover bits, as you can see by the fact that it has like, we were doing some casts for some other stuff and we had a bit of left over, but we didn't quite have enough left over. So you'll see in there's like a greenish blob, and we had a failed bit of resin cast, so we just stuck that in to make up the difference, so it came up to the top. But what I'm going to do is, I mean, the other thing of course is that I actually made this skull too large anyway, so yeah, so I need to make another model, and I need to make it smaller, so about 2/3 the size of this one. Do it completely flat along here, I think. None of this bit in here, so that needs to be completely flat. So I'll probably make it slightly more squished, so the bit back comes out a little bit more. It's going to look a little bit more Neanderthal, and see if I can do something about this weird expression it's got, because it doesn't actually have the same expression on there, so maybe it was just us when I was getting it out of the silicone that it did that, so I don't know. And these bits need to be sorted. I mean, it could be a case of putting it in and then pulling it out, or it could be a case of just running the silicone around it, so you've got like a thin layer of silicone so it sticks to itself. But yeah, I mean, as you can see, when we pulled it out of the silicone, it came out completely, no silicone left in the actual moulded wax, no wax left in the silicone. It was really good in that respect. It's an ideal product if you want to make yourself a model that you can then cast and have copies of. I would definitely recommend it because it was really easy to work with. As you can see, just me handling it now is making it softer, but you know, the main part of it is fairly solid. You know, I'm like, it's not massively squishable. But yeah, at some stage, as I say, I've got to pull all this off and redo it anyway, so, and I will treat you to that extravaganza. So this is just a recap and to let you know what happened after. An update, not a recap. That's what it is, it's an update. The problem is that now that I see it, I'm like, I want to fix all the bits, but I actually have to take it apart entirely and redo it, so it's a bit Don't forget to like, subscribe, share with your friends, because you know, we want to make the goblin community as big as possible. So if you're a creative goblin out there and you want to join us, please find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook, leave suggestions in the comments below of what you'd like to see us do, and see you next time. Bye.